Good morning, everybody. We are just going to make sure that this is live and that everybody can see us. Scrolling, finding live. Yes, it says we are live. Amazing. So, live now public. Love. How did we do it last time? I'm just going to check. Can you look on your device, Lisa, and see if you can see it live on my page? That would be the way to check. Here we go. Oh, looky. Maybe I can press it here. Edit the audience. This is it. Public. Okay, we found it. Done it. Right.
Found it.
Yay. Okay. Brilliant. We are
live.
We did it. We mastered the technology. Here we are. Welcome everybody to our Boss Witch Monday Soul Chat. So I have got the amazing Lisa Lister here. For those of you that don't know me, there's quite a few new people on my page too. I'm Debbie Lim. I'm a soul-aligned success coach. I help women to step into their purpose by putting their magic first so that they can create wild abundance and really enjoy what they are doing. So that's a little bit about me. Creativity is my jam. Women in business is my jam. Getting more money into the hands of more good people with good hearts that actually are here for the betterment of the people and the planet is what kind of drives me forward. And so I'm so happy to be here with Lisa to help promote her business, to co-create together, to help connect her to even more amazing souls that might want to learn from her, be in her powerful space. So welcome, beautiful Lisa.
Oh, thank you so much for the beautiful introduction. And you certainly show up and do that for many, many people.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Lisa in brief, because Lisa, I've known Lisa for a few years and we were actually in a business mastermind together. And now we've just ended up in another one together, which is super cool to recognize and see like how far both of us have come in that. What's it been, 2 short years? Yeah, so we'll talk a bit about that today, I think, as well. So Lisa is a compassionate psychic medium dedicated to helping individuals heal unresolved childhood wounds. By guiding you to listen to the wisdom within, Lisa empowers you to develop your psychic abilities and embrace your true potential. With a gentle and intuitive approach, Lisa creates a supportive space for personal growth and spiritual transformation. I love that. And I think that captures you beautifully, knowing what I know of you and having had the pleasure of receiving your medicine before too. Yeah, you do bring a very special energy of compassion, true compassion that comes, I think, from a deep understanding of that particular journey with, where we get stuck in our wounded inner child. And you also have so much knowledge, Lisa, and wisdom and so many modalities. So I'd love to talk about that a little bit today. We'll talk a little bit about your offers and how people can connect in with you. But I was wondering if we might rewind like quite far back. I'm really interested in how people started to become aware that they had these abilities. I mean, I don't know about you, but I believe we have all got them. But for some of us, it happens really early on in life. For some of us, it's later in life. And for me, I definitely switched it off as I was entering the world. So I've done some timeline reweaving where I've actually seen that I shut that down straight away. So I didn't have that childhood full of pixies and fairies and visions and things. It was very suppressed. And so for me, that showed as a lot of nightmares and fear of the things that go bump in the night. So how was it for you? Did you always know, or was there a pivotal happening in your life that awakened you?
Really interesting question. And absolutely, we all have it. All of us do. Some of us have it more honed through birth. We just have the gifts, they're there because of part of what we've chosen to come through to learn and how we've chosen to learn. And some of us have it because we practice and we go to courses, or we have something that happens, we go, oh, what's that? And it gets us curious and thinking. So we then dive in and find different ways and seek different people to help us to enhance, get to know, and develop our psychic gifts. So for me, I can always remember, ever since, even at 2, being able to look at people and go, I want to go close, I want to move away. So I've always had that ability to tap into the empathy and the clairsentience of me. I can see people. I've been able to see them for a long time, since really, really little, and understand the energy. I guess you'd say I can read the energy of people. However, it wasn't encouraged in my family. It was never talked about. And from about 7 or 8, I would wake up at night, and I'd just wake up and I'd look to the side of my bed, and there'd be all these people. And they'd be saying, I'm lost, where do I go? And I'd go, oh, over there to the light with my eyes, over there, was waking up. And this would happen night after night after night. And I became really tired, as you would if you've woken up a lot. And I said to my mum once, oh, all these people that keep visiting me in the night. And she said, what people? And I said, the people without the bodies that keep asking where to go to the light because they're lost. And her reaction to, her response to that wasn't what I thought it would be. She was quite surprised, and there was an energy of, you don't need to be telling people that. People are going to think you're a little bit strange. And that was the first time I went, oh, perhaps this isn't what everybody does. Perhaps this isn't normal.
Yeah.
And
so how you 7 or 8, did you say?
Yes, when I talked to Mum about it, but it had been happening for a really long time. And I would also have these dreams at night about this baby who was shining in light. She had so much light, and she would speak to me and she would tell me things. Back then, I didn't realize, but that was actually an aspect of me that was talking to me. I didn't realize that. And there was a little bit of a disconnect, because every time I went to go and see this baby, she would fall down the stairs, which was really interesting, especially how life has kind of worked out. And so she taught me a lot about what it means to be light, because what I've recognized is, when these people would stand by my bed, the beings without bodies, they could still see them in their human form, but they didn't have the physical flesh. Nonetheless, they were still there, and they were still speaking to me. And so I kind of had this acknowledgement and this knowing that there's more to life than just what I can see, that there's more to us than just our human form.
Amazing.
So it's been an interesting journey.
Yeah. And so what was that like what happened after that? I'm curious to know. Around, you're a child, for you it sounds like that was totally natural and normal, and you weren't questioning that until somebody planted the seeds of doubt in your mind around, oh, that's not what everybody else is experiencing, and maybe don't talk about that. Did things kind of did it have an effect on you, or did you kind of just already know that you would carry on doing your nighttime work as a child?
Well, it just kind of happened that way. So I just kind of kept doing it, but I wouldn't really talk about it. And when I was 21, I had my first child and received really severe postnatal depression. And so what that meant was that my energy field was really open. And so there would be so many happenings. There would be people like constantly. I'd be sitting breastfeeding, and people would be walking in and out of the room. There'd be people around me. I could see people who had been in car accidents who were not looking their best, shall we say, who would keep coming in. And then I remember one night I was woken up. I was so exhausted, and this man was standing by my bed, and he said, I've got something for you. And he handed me a book. And I just screamed, go away, just go away and leave me alone. And from that moment, bang, it shut down.
Wow.
Totally shut down.
So
And it gave me some reprieve. Sorry?
You've experienced the full gamut of gifts on, gifts off, overwhelmed with gifts.
Yeah, I love that, gifts on and gifts off. That's really interesting, because what I learned from being 7 was you show up as other people want you to. You be how other people want you to be, and that allows you to be accepted. That allows everything to flow easily. When you step out of that, you find conflict, you find resistance. Now, that's not a truth. That was what I was shown. And I, from age of 21, have then spent, and I'm now 57, have spent all this time undoing that. And it's now to the point where I can see spirit again. I hear spirit speaking to me. I see spirit speaking to me. I work with spirit. I help other people to dive in and tap into their connection to who they truly are. And the most important thing that I've found when you're doing this work, it's not actually knowing who you are, it's knowing who you are not.
I was just going to say, like, as you're speaking, what I'm hearing is this is about identity and this is about boundaries. And I think at the moment, like right now, it feels like we're going through this massive, like Phoenix moment. That's why I'm teaching my class tonight around shifting that and realizing, because I like, what you're sharing about your postnatal story. And I had that too. And actually it was interesting that I had a big identity crumble before the baby and then the postnatal depression, which really was probably a result of the thing that happened before. But so when we have really big trauma like that, we are in this, just let me know if I'm on the right track, sort of stepping outside of ourselves. Therefore, the field becomes completely open and then we just get completely invaded, whether that's with spirit or whether that's with people we don't want to be around, or taking on everybody else's stuff. And it's almost like, yeah, we lose our center, and then it's like that lifelong journey sometimes. And it actually is a lifelong journey, isn't it? To keep retrieving all aspects of self, not only from this life, but then we can go out into, other lives in the past. And and as we do that, we gather more and more, because I sort of feel like it's the more of that we bring home, the more light we carry, the more safe we feel in our light and our power. That's kind of the best protection that we can have from unwanted energies, however that comes in.
Yes, for sure.
You've got more intel on this probably than me.
Well, we have different experiences, right? And all experiences are valid. And, it's like being cracked open like an egg. It's like when we live in this 3D reality that's been designed to hold us in space, in place, through the laws of creation, through the virtues, through our childhood upbringing, through our ancestral codes, through the history of the planet. There are so many things that look like this is how life is, and this is all there is. However, there's so much more to what we can just perceive with our physical eye, and what we can hear with our physical ears, and what we pick up around us. So we have to have an intention, I believe, to acknowledge the parts of us that are unseen, that are unheard. There's so much more to us. We are magnificent, amazing miracles walking around on 2 legs, but not just in the physical. It's all the things that are sitting in behind it. Creator gave us, or source gave us, whatever name you want to put on it. Call it Lucy, call it Nigel. It doesn't really matter. You can't not have this energy. There is nowhere that creator energy is not. It's absolutely everywhere. And when we acknowledge it and tap into it, the abundance of experiences that are available to us and the perspectives that we can tap into are phenomenal. They're never ending. Yes. And, through that postnatal depression, it gave me the opportunity to really get to know who I am and who I am not, which now has allowed me to choose how I wish to proceed with this. Because one of the things that I learned was that you actually have to be willing to take command over the spirit. Well, spirit can just come in and overwhelm you. I don't know if any of you listeners out there have ever experienced paralysis at night, where you feel like there's something heavy on your chest and you can't move. And when that happens, that's spirit taking control of you. Well, that's not okay. It's actually about you being in command. It's about you being in charge of who you are. And that happens when you know who you are.
Yes. Yes. And I love everything that you've just said, because there's a couple of things I'd love to tap into there. And I think it's this really landing the understanding of what oneness actually is, because what I am sensing from quite a few people in the newly awakening, and there's also some old mindsets there around entities and shadows and things, it's like once we kind of demystify that and realize that it's actually all part of the same thing, it takes a lot of the fear away, because I actually feel like sometimes the fear is the gateway to letting that thing, like you say, overrun you or not. And that's that choice point, isn't it? And it's sort of like realizing that you are that powerful, that you're the most powerful entity in the room always. And there is only ever fear or love, and which one do we choose? Because choosing, and the power of your intention, like especially when you're coming from, I teach this with Reiki, and I'm sure you do with all of your amazing modalities, is there's actually nothing more powerful, not the symbols, not the bits and bobs that we do, other than the intention of your heart. And I always find, healings and things so much more powerful when I get my own head out the way and let it flow through with the intention that it's for the highest always. And it just kind of allows you to relax a little bit into life, doesn't it? And you don't have to fear these things. You can let them move through you, but you also are, I think the first time I heard that term about commanding a healing, I was like, oh no, I can't tell Creator what to do. But it's once you realize that is you. It's like, yes, you can. You're not. It's not an overlording. It's not a power thing. It's actually just taking control from a really grounded, safe. What's the word? I don't know. When you're just in your powerful essence, and I think people can feel that. And that's, I know, just the more and the more and the more that we do that as healers for our own personal self, you watch your client transformations just take off, don't you? Because it's the coding that we hold through the work that we do on our own shadows behind closed doors, which amplifies everything. So so when did you start learning all of your incredible modalities? Tell us a few, or all of them, if you can remember them, because I know you've got a lot. And how do you weave it all together? Because I know you're even studying something right now as well.
Yes, pre and perinatal birth psychology, which is an incredible study. And that's all about tapping into your conception and how you were conceived, and through the gestation of the pregnancy, and then your birthing, and up to 3 years. Because this is where we learn all about who we are, how we're meant to be, how love is, how we receive love or not, whether abuse is love or love is love, and how we manage our way through that, how we start something, finish something, and even arrive in the middle of it. And do we carry on, or does the potency drop? So there's so many things to this birth psychology, and I'm weaving that into all the things that I do. So I first started out learning the tarot when everything went off. It was like, right, I really want to come back in and learn this. So what's the best thing to do? So I just started learning the tarot. And I just want to make a point to what you said, because it was really beautifully said. We work with all that is. We're not separate from all that is. And you're absolutely right when you say it's about who we are. Like, do we need the tarot? No, we don't. Do we need the symbols? No, we don't. Why? Because we are the tarot. We are the symbols. We are the crystals. We are the starseed. We are all that is. It's already inside us. It was already given to us. The map to navigate this world was already gifted to you at your birth through your choices before you incarnated. What family are you going to come into? What's the DNA going to be like? What's the history of the family that you're birthing into? What are the strengths? What are the shadows? So, you are, those of you who are listening, you're incredibly aware and tapped and turned on beings. Some of us come into not remember that. And that's okay, because that's part of your soul journey. That's part of who you are. And so what I did was, first of all, I learned the tarot. And then I learned Reiki, and then crystals and color healing. And then I dived deep into sound healing, which how would I say that, which eliminated all of the limiting beliefs and the barriers around me. And it wasn't done through mindset. It was done through sound. It was done through tone. And when we tap into the tone of who we truly are, there's a tone to heal every single dis-ease. There's a vitamin to heal every single dis-ease. There's a mineral to heal every single dis-ease. And so from the sound healing and really coming into knowing who I am and then developing more of that, then I learned theta healing. And theta healing is a beautiful modality that really enriches your psychic development. And it comes from the place that the creator of all that is. And when we're tapped in and tuned into that energy, there's nothing less than unconditional love that can actually touch you. Because that's what, to me, creator energy or God energy or source energy or Lucy or Nigel, whatever name you want to put on it is, it's total unconditional love, which is what we are here to be, channels of light, of unconditional love. And then from there, I learned biodynamic craniosacral. And then I've been weaving it in and out. And now with my pre and birth natal psychology, bringing that in to really assist you to remember, clients to remember who you are, to come back to that sense of truly knowing what worthiness is and eliminating all of the patterns and the programs and the projections that have been placed on us through our ancestry, through the history of the planet and our family, through our childhood beliefs, so that you can really come in and truly live your soul divine purpose. And at the end of the day, it's pretty simple, really. It's simple. It's just all this other stuff gets in the way. And that's what we need to clear in order to be that safe channel for the light to help others.
I can just feel my heart is just expanding and expanding and expanding the more and the more and the more that you speak. And the most exciting thing from all of that, there's two things actually that really excite me out of that. One is the one that you're learning now. Sorry, I didn't catch the actual official name. Say it again.
Pre and perinatal birth psychology.
So I think I probably do that intuitively. I have been working with myself, and also a lot of clients will go back to, well, we just ask, where is this from in life? And I'll usually say, is it this life? Is it a birth piece? Is it a past life? Or all of the above? And it is profound, isn't it? How much all of those pieces that you've spoken to specifically code us, like from in the womb, the birth story, and then what happens afterwards. And I've even tapped into light spark and conception moments as well. Because for me, my personal journey was, I did all that inner child stuff. I did all that, not all that, but a lot of, we're never done. There's always more. But sort of focusing on those 0 to 7 years, which is a lot of where the mindset psychology things kind of sit. But I still felt like there was just something deeply wrong with me, that I was in some way broken, that it was all my fault, that I was a problem, that I was all of these things. And it was just so deep that we had to go all the way right back and realize where I jumped off my soul path and into the martyrdom savior, complex before it even become a physical thing. So it was so profound. And then being able to witness the circumstances of what's going on around birth, conception, and what was happening for the people involved in that in their lives, and then realizing it's not actually mine.
It's not yours. And I love that you mentioned that it's not yours. In fact, 99% of what we think, feel, and act is not ours. We are beings of light, and we absorb light. So that means we also absorb imprints. We also absorb other people's feelings. We also absorb other people's thoughts. And often when we have the thought or the feeling, we go, well, it must be mine because I'm feeling it. But I just want to put this into the field here. What if it wasn't yours? What if it actually belonged to somebody else who thought something right at the moment you walked past them? And that thought had a little connection to how you feel about you. And so that thought goes in. And you go, well, it must be mine. I must own it. But no, you don't. So one of the things that you can do through Access Consciousness, we teach that you can send it back to sender with consciousness attached. And we say with consciousness attached because it's not about sending it back to hurt someone or to harm somebody. That's not up to you. You just need to get rid of what's not yours. And I love how you mentioned too, Deb, about, the wrongness of us. Often there's so many clients that have this. I've seen it like a collective belief, the wrongness of us. Now, when I was studying the biodynamic craniosacral, we did this exercise, and in the exercise, I went all the way back to conception. And I saw my little soul sitting on a ledge, and I would have been about maybe 16 weeks or maybe, hang on, when would you first know you're pregnant? About maybe 8 weeks, maybe sometimes.
As long as 6 weeks, even, yeah.
And so I'm in this ledge, and I'm in the womb, and I see myself in the ledge, and I heard my mother say, "Oh no, I'm pregnant." And I straight away shifted out, and a part of me left the womb. And I went, "I'm not wanted." I'm not wanted. Later during that session, what I realized was my mother had said, "Oh no, I'm pregnant," not because she didn't want me as the baby, but because she didn't want to stay with the father. She didn't want to stay with her partner. Yeah. But when you hear these things, and as a little one, we always take them on and absorb them that it's us, because remember, it goes into the unconscious, and the unconscious takes everything as true and real. It's not until we tap into our conscious mind that we get to understand around the concept of what that means, and have the ability to actually consciously, what's the word I'm looking for? Consciously know what it means.
Yes.
And so that pattern,
context, don't you? And that only happens through life. But yeah, I think that's huge, actually, just to emphasize that point, is that, 0 to 7, we're literally in a dream state. We haven't had our life yet. We can't contextualize what's going on around us. And so even if it's not that bad, because people go, "Oh, I didn't have a bad upbringing, I didn't have a traumatic life." It's like, yeah, but you made everything that was going around you mean it was all about you in some way, shape, or form, often, especially those things that trip us up. Hey, and then there's the other piece of like that sort of dynamic between the baby and the mother with the umbilical cord. Like, I'm fascinated by the energy of the umbilical cord, and I do a lot of healing with clients around that, because oftentimes there's a part of us that doesn't see ourselves as separate from the mother, or the mother doesn't see you as separate from them. And so there's kind of there's a real, do you know, or have you got theories and thoughts about that? I know I've got my own ideas. Often what will happen is, even with, there'll be grown women coming into my space, and I'll tune into the belly button, and we'll find that there's still like a deep attachment there. And that's often when there's a lot of deep mother wounding pieces around sovereignty of energy, or there's been an abusive or codependent relationship with that mother, because neither of those souls are kind of seeing themselves separate in that mother-child dynamic.
And often you can get children who actually parent the parent. And that can often happen when we incarnate, we come through for a reason. So I just want to make this really clear from my seeing and understanding of this, is that there is no thing that is wrong. It's all perfectly outplaying to exactly what it is that you are here to learn as a soul. So number one, you're not wrong. Whatever comes out, it's not wrong. And we are here as healers, as coaches, to help you to remember the true worthiness of you. So the mother wound is the mother is our very first connection to life, isn't it? It's our connection to food, nourishment through the umbilical cord. It's and through the breastfeeding. It's our connection to touch and love. And so when we have our children, if we are unable to connect to that child, connection to anything is going to be, it's going to be challenged. Because if we don't know how to safely connect to the first love of us, then that's going to play out always in the life until we can rewrite that, which is what the pre and perinatal birth psychology helps you to achieve. It's quite incredible. And so I worked with a lady once through Theta Healing who came to me because she was really out of her worthiness. She was scared and anxious all the time. She couldn't handle any type of chaos. She was so sensitive. She kept picking up on everything that was going around her and thinking that it was her. When we did the work through Theta and I went and had a look, Creator showed me her in the womb as a baby. And she was in the womb like this. And when I asked her what it meant, she said to me that all her life her parents argued. All she ever heard them was argue, argue, argue. So we went back into that, and this was happening when she was in the mother's womb. So we went back into that time and space through Creator's love, and Creator filled the womb with the most beautiful nursery I'd ever seen, and it was padded really thick so that she couldn't hear that. And then there was this beautiful pink light of unconditional love that was sent through the womb, and it took away the trauma of what she had experienced as a baby in her mother's womb. Now, after that healing, she rang me and she said, I can now stand up for myself. I now have a voice. I can say no without feeling guilty. I don't hide and run away when there's conflict. So, when we do the work, and what I've been shown all the time is that I am the channel for the work to come into this world, because this is what we are. This is what our bodies allow us to do. But Creator does the healing, and then we witness. And as we witness it, it comes into form. And so this was a really powerful healing for this woman. It was really incredible to see her a totally different space. It's amazing.
I love just the clarity of the way that you describe things that I sense and experience that I really struggle to get into words. And that's what makes you such a powerful teacher and wise woman. So thank you for sharing all of that so clearly. And so, because I just love that. I'm really excited by these kinds of conversations with people like you that can really explain it in the simplest terms and remind everybody that it's nothing to be afraid of, and it's not spooky dooky woo woo. It's just actually a return to love, a return to truth.
Said. And I love that. And I want to add too that part of it is woo woo, and it's a good woo woo.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. We're okay with being a little bit slightly quirky. That's okay, because you know what? That allows you to be truly who you are. Because if you deny any part of yourself, that's what you're doing. You're not really stepping into the authenticity of you. And we only need you to be you, because me, Deb, you have your own tone. You have your own frequency. And you know what? When you pass back over and you rebirth back into spirit, there's a tone in the universe that gets taken out because you're gone. And while you're here, your tone and your frequency is helping the planet. It's helping your family. It's helping your friends and your family to be who you truly are as you rise in your own energy, your frequency, the tone of who you are. And you get to choose that because Creator gave us free will. So we get to say yes, we get to say no, we get to say I'm going to look at this or not look at that. You have total free will and to decide who you are and what you want to do and how you wish to be. And what I found is that when we work in this field, we get to know it through Creator's truth, which isn't my truth or your truth. We're going to the highest truth. And in Theta Healing, we look at 7 planes of existence. And within the planes of existence, there's thousands and thousands of dimensions. Like on the 5th plane where the masters, the angels, and your soul family reside, there's also beings of really deep, dark shadow. It's not that one is better than the other. It's your ability to hold a frequency of light. And so the more, as you were saying, and the more light that you hold, literally the lighter you can be. And the lighter that you are, your vibration moves way quicker, which allows you to shift through time and patterns and spaces and places with more ease. It's not that one is better than the other. It's just a different level of holding the light.
I love that. I've been trying to get that into words recently when I was explaining things to people, where it's like it's not that it's ever easy, but it does become easeful. I think I actually did a video on it last week. Because exactly that, you're shifting into a lighter, faster, finer vibration. And so what I'm finding at the moment is I move through things real quick and I'll look back and think, I was feeling really stuck on something last week, and then realizing that 5 years ago, that would have put me in a dark night of the soul for probably 2 months, where I would have been like, oh, what's wrong? What's happening to me? Whereas now it's just like, okay, you get to use all your tools. And I think it come down to like deeper and deeper and deeper. And I suppose it's a love, peace, trust. because I think the trust comes when you've remembered that you are spirit. And then you just always feel safe to kind of have the up level, have the awakening, see the shadows, recognize those things that are presenting themselves in our bedroom at night or in our nightmares are also part of the oneness and part of us in some way.
Yeah, and let's remember, beautiful family out there, don't take it too serious.
Mm.
You know, lighten up. That's why we say lighten up. Raise your level of being able to hold more light. Just make it joyful. When you follow your joy, when you follow your passion, you are naturally going to attract more love. And it's your joy and your passion that really allows you to step into awakening your psychic gifts. It doesn't have to be deep. It doesn't have to be heavy. You know, all of those patterns are codes that you've inherited through your ancestral line, like way back in the past. If you think about it, families would have to go to see a pope or a priest that would then speak to God on your behalf, or speak and then tell you what was told. But we don't have to do that anymore, because that's who you are. And over time, what we've seen is that not just the evolution of the planet, but the evolution of spirituality, the evolution of who we truly are. In some places, as you're seeing it, like it's almost like there are no boundaries now. Everything is on show. Everything is coming up to be looked at. Everything. And part of the work that I do and I feel strongly about is bringing yourself back to righteousness. And righteousness for me means about tapping into the will of love, not my will be done, but thy will be done. And that happens when you know how to tap into the wisdom and the truth that lives in yourselves. Okay, it's who you truly are. And so when we work together, it's so important that we identify the core of a belief so that we can go back to the origin and rewrite it. Take hold of the gifts that you were learning through this and amplify them, but release you of the obligation to keep having to learn it through pain, battle, struggle, limitation, and abuse. And I also just want to say what you said about, you know, the trust. When we can deeply trust ourselves is when we deeply know who we are at a core level, which is total unconditional love. That is who we are. And we've gained all these limitations, these walls and these barriers that we place in front of us so I don't get hurt. But you know what they say, when you have a broken heart, it allows the love in, because when it's broken, it's here to be, it's open, it's exposed. And so it's also one of the things that I've found when working with theta healing and inner child work. It's that sense of vulnerability that people want to hide the most. But it's in your sense of vulnerability we get to see the preciousness of you, that we get to see the truth of you, we get to see your light shining. And my gifts that I bring is that I can see that in people. I see it really clearly, and I teach you how to hold that without the feeling that you're going to be attacked or you're going to get abused, so that you can reclaim back and step into your power, the empowerment of who you truly are, without fear of being not loved.
I love this. I must have been feeling you this morning, because I was thinking about, I always have like a little channel running as I'm going about my morning. And it was something about, like, I was feeling that there's a bit of a fear in some around stepping into my power means like that I'll be in some way overpowering others or taking away from others, where it's not. The true power comes from feeling safe enough, and this is a lot of inner masculine healing, to hold yourself in a state of vulnerability, to be courageously open in your heart, but with great boundaries, and let that overflow into the world. Like, that's actually been in your power, is spreading that piece forward, isn't it? It's like when we've got shame and when we're hiding and when we're afraid to be vulnerable, we often end up creating the very thing that we're trying to keep ourselves safe from, and that's actually like trauma looping, isn't it? So I love this conversation so much. It's so aligned with everything that I believe. Before I sort of I was just about to step into coaching, I think, and it was sort of like, who am I? What the hell am I going to me? Really? Ooh. And I was driving over over a hill to an ecstatic dance thing, and I got this download from spirit, I guess, and when you feel a direct drop in from source or from your higher consciousness, that was like, I just heard the word you. It was like, if everybody, like if you just guide people back to remember that if they just took personal self-responsibility in every area of their life as much as they can, and they've always got the will, the willingness to do that, we would have the most beautiful world, a sovereign state where people are like, I don't need to save you to avoid saving myself. I'm
Yes.
to do that for me. And so, and I just notice and witness myself and clients that, because I always thought, well, maybe you have to, what do you have to do to turn on these gifts or to enhance that? And yes, all these teachings and modalities are amazing, but it's incredible what switches on just from peeling away all of the untruths and remembering that anything that's coming in that's causing fear or anxiety is not the truth.
That's not true. That's right. And being willing to follow your natural GPS system, which is your emotions, right? Because they speak the loudest. They're going to show you. And the one thing that will never lie to you is your body. Your body's always going to tell you. Your head might go, oh, yeah, it's all good to be in this situation. And yet your body's going, which is what happened to me when I was little. No, I want to move away. And if you want to move away, I'm going to really encourage you to listen to what your body is telling you, because your body will never lie to you, ever, 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 ever. And when you follow your passion and you follow your joy, that leads to love. It can't not, right?
Yes.
And so when even your negative beliefs, listen to them, because they're telling you a story. There's something in there for you. Oh, okay. So this has come up because somewhere I'm tapping into a misconception of who I am. Yeah. And also remember, I want to say too, that was sadness, because yesterday marked a year since my sister, Nikki, had passed away. And it was like the sadness that I thought I might have felt, I've actually felt a sense of nostalgia, of course, and I miss her. I miss her in the physical, but having the ability to tap in and tune into all that is in the unseen and the seen, I get to see her and I get to hear her, and she still visits. So I get to still be with her in a different way. But the most important thing to remember is this: you, when you're connected to your truth, will always be in the perfect place for your deep unfolding as it shows right now. There's nothing that you really need to be doing. It's all about sitting in the knowing and the being of just be. Okay, so what do I feel now? What's happening right now? Cool, I'm safe. This is feeling good. There's a little fear out there. Okay, I recognize that. But right here in this moment, right now, I'm fully safe. And that will also help you to alleviate feelings of anxiety. And when we step into, oh, I wish I'd done this, and all the regrets and all the resentments, that's you stepping back into the past. And the past is not your moment of now. It's not your power moment. It's right here, right now. So remember to breathe. Remember to come back to your being, not your doing, but your being.
Yeah. And two, like, we started that conversation, we finished that little piece, are so interlinked. And that's been my biggest homecoming, awakening, which is to come home to the body. I was so far outside of myself. And so I was still able to achieve a lot, and I still had a certain measure of success that was limited on how much incredible energy it took to do the things, to receive the things, right? And so the journey, or the moment where I actually let myself come home into my body and feel everything, was one of the most profound, heart-opening, cracking open. As you say, you have to experience a measure of heartbreak in order to have that level of homecoming as well. And then that's when you become fully like, oh, okay, now I can trust that I am actually always, like, being out of time and rushing. Like, that was one of my biggest things, right? Because that shows that you're not in your body, and you can't feel that trust when you're out there, because you're not inside of yourself. So when you come home and you sit in the body, and then, I don't know, at the moment, even though I've got huge goals and dreams and lots going on, I just always feel like my nervous system just feels different because I know I'm always exactly where I'm meant to be. And even if something very uncomfortable is going on, I know that on the other side of that is an amazing learning that I decided on, as you say, when I was a soul waiting to come in, and I designed this incredible program for my life, this incredible opportunity.
And how amazing are you? You know, that you actually, as you designed it, also decided and knew that you could take this piece and that piece and that piece that would help you navigate it. So you always have the awareness of what you're needing to be at any given moment. It's just the fears, the anxieties, the projections, the old codes of light that are now past their due by date. And, you know, one of the things that I find is when we work with our inner child, we go all the way back to the origin, to the core. We go back to the core of what it is so that we've got the best foundation to work from. Because when if a child has experienced, let's say they've got the most beautiful, loving family, and the family is all about making sure the children are okay. So both mum and dad work all the time because they want to make sure they can provide for their family. But that leaves a space of neglect for the child because she doesn't or he doesn't have.
Lisa, and you're reading my childhood patterns and programs here.
So it's not that you have to have a bad childhood in order to do inner child healing work, because inner child healing work brings you back to the foundation of who you are. It allows you to release the programs and the patterns that don't belong to you. It allows you to tap into your innocence. And if you think about children, they're so innocent, aren't they? And break the word innocence up. Inner sense. Your inner sense is what you know as a child. It's what you know as truth. And children see truth. Children know truth. Children call out an untruth and they don't hesitate and they can be very blunt. So we want to come back into that space. That's your psychic energy. That is your GPS system. That's what we're enhancing when we work with inner child work. That's what we enhance when you do the work through psychic development and working a whole year with me to really tap in and tune in and develop your sense of worthiness, your sense of value, the truth of who you are, letting go of all the doing, come back to being so that you can step into your passion and create and be the life, create the life, manifest the life right here, right now that you come here to do in your soul's purpose.
I love it so much. I've never heard anybody explain it. Just like I just had a big aha moment, because sometimes I think maybe there's a perception when we say inner child work that people think that it's quite light and fluffy, or it's a certain, you know, has a certain personality. But it's actually not for the faint-hearted, because as you say, it's going to take you back to the core. And it also calls in that piece that I was tapping into before of self-responsibility, where because as a grown-up now, you get to reparent yourself and make different choices, right? And I think that's a little bit about the Phoenix energy that's wanting to come in tonight's chat for those of you that are joining me tonight. And I'll see you there, Lisa. But I'm really excited by how you described it as inner sense, because I've had a big block around admitting that I am a psychic person, and it's been a really interesting journey. As you say, when I've got negative beliefs, I like to spend a really long time in them. I like to get all the information. It's like I'm not going to rush through this thing. Why? And I just I've sat with it for years, going, why? Why am I afraid of it? Because it's got so many different things to show me about the untruths of my perception of that. And it's been such an amazing homecoming that the minute that you realize it's usually that one thing, isn't it, that we're not wanting to really see, that is our magic, that is our purpose, our passion. If we put that in the front of what we do, as you say, that's what I call soul aligned success. So I help my businesswomen to tap into what's the one thing in your whole life that brings you the most joy, that take out, it doesn't make sense how that fits into my coaching program. Take out how that doesn't translate to money, because there is a way to bring those things together. And it sounds like that's exactly what you do in a whole different way, which is so powerful. But innocence and inner sense, I love that, because I keep pulling the innocence card from 25 different decks. And I think I've just, I understand that now, what that message is providing me with. So, oh my God, Lisa, I'm so excited. Tell us about, for the viewers that are watching this, that are like, there's so many things that you've shared there where they might be like, I'm so interested in learning this and developing that with myself and taking that journey. What have you got on offer at the moment, and how can people work with you?
Yeah, cool. So at the moment, I'm just about to begin a new course called Just Ask Spirit. So if you've ever seen colors around people, or if you hear voices in your head, or you get a warning that always ends up being true, or you feel things that perhaps you can't explain, Just Ask Spirit is a 4-week metaphysical training, almost a bit like a boot camp, where we're tapping into how to really hone your clairvoyance, your ability to see, your clairaudience, your ability to hear, and your clairsentience or claircognizance, it can be called, which is your ability to feel. And we're weaving it all together so that you have your GPS system turned on right up, so that you can make decisions based on what you know to be right, not what other people are telling you, so that you can really trust your own wisdom. And that begins on August the 2nd for in person here in Taranaki. And I'm also holding it online on August the 3rd. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world, you can still join this course. So if you're really ready to tap into your worthiness, your value, to see who you are, to eliminate who you are not, this is a course that will really help you to do that. And then I have a elemental coaching, which is a really low ticket item. It's not really low. It's actually really well priced for what it is.
Accessible.
Sensible pricing, is that what you said?
I'm sure it's a high vibrational offer.
Yes, absolutely. And this is a coaching through Telegram, where you receive messages every day. You receive an action step, and you also have coaching with me. You come in and you work with the messages. And at the moment, we're tapping into manifestation. The first 7 weeks that when we began was all about connecting into your angels. And there'll be all types of metaphysical topics that we talk about, that I'll be teaching you how to tap into. And you have the ability to have me one-on-one through this Monday to Friday. So if you want to ask questions, you can just jump in and do that. And then I have my Expression 101, which is my inner child healing work, which really helps you to tap into, uncover all of the programs, the beliefs, the limiting factors, the experiences that you have had as a child that have gotten in the way of you truly knowing who you are. It eliminates the wrongness of you, so that you can step into knowing what you want to do, how you want to do it, where you want to do it, with ease and grace and glory. And then I have my 1-year program, which hasn't been launched yet. This is sitting in the field. It's been designed over the last couple of days. And this is where I'm offering you a whole year. It's called Lunar Light VIP. And you can come and work with me for a whole year, and you get to experience all of my programs. Everything that I've done is for you. Everything that I do while you're working with me, you get as well. As also alongside one-on-one coaching, which will be face-to-face. So it's on Zoom, however that happens. So it's a really deep dive into uncovering. And this is for psychics, this is for healers, this is for people who know they have a passion for healing and want to know how to heal, want to be able to eliminate their beliefs and learn lots of different modalities, because during this, you'll be receiving all of the training. And at the end, we have a retreat where we all get to come together, those people who would like to do the one-on-one for the year. And I'll be taking you through so many good, juicy, delicious learnings about who you truly are.
Oh, amazing. So if I've got the vibe of those right, it would sound like the Just Ask Spirit would be great for people that are maybe newly awakening and feeling a bit overwhelmed by the energies coming in, or, and that's going to help them get clear on taking hold of their GPS and starting to drive themselves through the clears.
And if you know that you have the abilities, this is going to help you to enhance them. It's going to help you to develop them, to get rid of all of the it's like, it's time to get out of the spiritual closet, darlings. It's time to own who you truly are.
Awesome. I love it. And then the inner child program, is that in a group or is that a one-to-one offer?
That is in a group program. That's 3 months. And you also can upgrade if you want to receive one-on-one coaching during that space to help you navigate what comes up during the course.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. So that sounds like it would actually be supportive for every person that has had a childhood. Yeah, and I think that's important, is like, what we were speaking into earlier. It's like you could have had the most amazing, beautiful, loving parents, and still have a whole lot of patterns and programs that are not serving you at your highest.
Yes,
So
that's the one.
Yeah.
It's not just about having to be having trauma. It's not that, we can have, as you said, the most beautiful childhood and still hold patterns where we don't feel good enough.
Yeah. And actually letting go of the guilt around that and stepping into the program is in itself such a huge activation. Amazing. So there's that one. And then you've got your year long. So that might be someone like me, say, for example, if I wanted to come in and say, Lisa, teach me about all the different dimensions and who's hanging out on which level, like, and do you just geek out on all the high level spiritual stuff if you wanted to, or if you were more even not quite at that level, it sounds like you could still take someone on a journey from A to B, wherever they're wanting to go on.
That's how you said that. We so geek out. We go into chakras, we go into the masters, we go into invocations, we go into prayer, we go into tarot, we go into pendulum work, we go into Reiki, we go into belief work, we go into even setting yourself up to be online. Really simple, basic of the online business. Things like Canva, things like Tax, things like Zoom, things like Xero. A package that allows you to really step into being the healer that you want to be, whether you want to take it online or open it up as in a clinic situation. Yeah.
Amazing. Because you've got both, haven't you? You've got in-person clinic and online. Is that how you roll?
Yes.
Amazing.
So I love the geeking out on it all. It's super fun. And you get to meet people who can't have enough of this conversation. It's a safe space to really dive into who you are. It's a safe space to learn more about yourself without feeling like, oh, I can't say that. I've got to censor that. I don't want to upset anyone here. It's like everything gets to be put on the table, everything.
And there is so much value in that. Like, that's the sort of unspoken and intangible gifts of these kinds of spaces that we hold in these group containers, is that for many people, it's the first time that they've felt like they've found their tribe, or they're safe to be that version of themselves that they have to maybe feel like they put a lid on in the rest of their life. So yeah, incredible. Oh my gosh, Lisa, that sounds amazing. You're amazing. My mind has been blown. I'm so excited. I love everything that you just said. We could talk for hours and hours and hours. We've already talked for an hour. Can you believe it?
It's gone boom, and that's the thing that happens when you're in the flow, right? Time ceases to exist because you're in right now. And thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure, darling, to step into your world, and I'm really looking forward to seeing more of you this evening.
Yay, amazing. So follow Lisa on her Facebook page, which is just Lisa Lister, or you can join her amazing group, which is
Quantum Healing Community.
Quantum Healing Community. And you're also on Instagram, or mostly Facebook?
As Lisa Lister Healer Teacher.
Beautiful.
So I'll find those links and pop them under this in the Facebook group. So if anyone wants to follow, please.
Links to Lisa's ways to connect with her, maybe a connection call link if you want. Is that something that you offer for people if they want to hear or talk to you about what program might be the right fit for them? And absolutely. What else? Anything you've got on your if you've got links to your program information, we'll put those down there as well. So amazing. It's so incredible to be back in this space.
Beautiful woman. Appreciate your time.
Yeah. Have a beautiful day.
You too. Much love. Bye, everybody.